Hello, Anna. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
All right, good to know. I am fine. Thank you very much. Today you're going to make a presentation about texting and how it is supposedly killing language. So, when you're ready, you can start.
Right, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming today to share these ideas about texting and our daily life. Mm, I think that technology is getting part of our lives faster and faster all the time. And texting is as common as breathing for us.
Mhm,
And because we are just stick it out in our cell phones a huge
mhm,
part of our time. But uh, as an information that I saw said that it's killing the language, but it's not in that way. It's just making a huge change. But
mhm,
let's see a little bit about it. First, I want to show a part of our language process, of our communicative process. Sorry,
mhm.
and how to put it in account for saying that our language is being enriched, not being destroyed by texting.
Right.
If you have a question or if you want to say something, just tell me and don't doubt about it.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right, texting, our language as teenagers, it's different than from adults because we just do so many abbreviations that probably you're not going to understand at all.
Mhm,
But actually, it's a new form, a new way of communication, and a new form for showing our language.
mhm. Right.
Probably you're going to understand many words that we say actually in Spanish and in English too,
Mm,
because us as teenagers, we have our own meanings for words that we had a long time ago, and
mm.
this actually enriches more, um, once more our language. I think that it's pretty
Mhm.
rich
Oh,
for our language, having our own meaning for words that we had one day.
mhm. All right, interesting.
Yeah, our communicative process, it's first like writing, handwriting, and if we think that we just uh, probably atrophiate our language by
Mhm,
texting, it's just as weird as saying that writing is atrophiating our language. It's
all
just
right.
enriching them
Mhm,
because we send short messages by texting.
mhm.
You can send it by handwriting, and it's not any difference between them because you're going to send a message, a short message with lol, for
Mhm.
example, by texting or by writing. It's just a change of language.
All
And
right.
if you, for example, you do something and you make it shorter, probably you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, where is my language?" You're going
Mm,
to make it more effective because
yeah.
we do a process that we are kids that are just learning how to read, how to write, and how to understand because all those letters we have a meaning for them. We have sounds and we
Yes.
have just the characteristics of these letters.
Mhm.
We associate them with a sound and we
Yes.
associate them with a concept,
Mhm.
and it's just a huge process that it's just so contradictory for a kid because it's just giving meaning for the letters, and probably you're going to be it a little bit confused for you.
Mhm.
But when you learn, you're going to do this process, our first communicative process.
All right.
First, it's reading, giving meaning to the letters that you're uh, looking, for example, in our screen, in, I don't know, in an announcement or in a book. You're going to give them meaning.
Mhm.
And second, you're going to learn how to write them, how to put their shape or their usual shape with your hands.
Mhm.
And last of all, when you understand reading. Writing, you're going to produce your own text or your own, I don't know, your someone could say, uh, write this, and this, and you're going to do it by listening. I don't know how to say it, but you're going to listen to it and to copy that in your notebook
Mm,
or in somewhere, and you're going to understand what they are saying, and you're going to put them in a text, in
oh,
like those symbols that we normally see in our screen.
mhm,
But probably you don't think it in your daily life, but reading and writing is a huge change in our lives and in a
mhm,
pretty magical process,
mm,
because
mhm,
those letters, without knowing how to read them, have no meaning. And if you
mm,
don't know how to write it and you put them in a huge disorder,
mhm,
or if you don't know how to produce a text or how to put them in the way that they have to read it or they could read it, you're going to be a mess.
mm,
This communicative process is like a cycle, it's connected.
mhm,
Without anything of this, you're not going to be successful in your communicative process, like talking or writing or reading, or
mm,
the huge skills
interesting.
that we have:
Mhm.
reading, writing, listening, and I forgot one. I thought reading, writing, listening,
And speaking,
and I
perhaps?
forgot. Yeah, thing. Sorry, I
All
forgot
right, don't
that.
worry. Mhm,
But it's a part of all this because we listen too much. When
mhm,
we are able to speak, it's something that we already listened before, and it's our a part of our language. And
mhm,
after all of this, we are producing our spoken language.
mm. All right, interesting.
By texting, we're just making it shorter and making it more effective and giving it, for example, other uh, meanings for our words.
Mhm,
For example, like in Spanish, we have, as teenagers, we use this word so much when we talk about someone else and you don't like the way that he or she are dressing.
mhm.
You could use a word that is uh, grillo. And
Oh, all right.
this word means that you are dressed like someone that are going to steal, that's going to
Okay.
steal something, or a bad guy or a bad girl or
Mm,
something like that. But if you say this word in Spanish, you're
mhm,
just offending them and you're saying salt
mm.
to them all the time. If you say you
All
are
right.
a grillo, but if
Okay.
you say something that it's the antonym, that it's puppy. Puppy is the way
Mm.
that you dress, and you dress so elegant, and
Oh,
you're buying, for example,
it's
in
like the
Kovac,
opposite.
or
Mhm,
yeah,
mm.
it's the opposite.
Oh, very interesting.
I when you talk like this, for example, to an adult, for a non-native speaker, they are going to say a puppy. Oh my
Mm.
God, what are you saying? It's going to be confusing for you if you're
Mm.
not a native speaker,
Yeah.
but more if you're an adult, a native speaker that probably had another meaning for this. I
And
think
sorry for interrupting you,
it changed. Don't
but
worry.
also I think it's not only a problem for native speakers, or for people who don't speak Spanish. It's also a problem for people from other countries in Latin America. For example, I wouldn't understand those words the very first time I arrived in Colombia. It's like a process, and that's very interesting, actually. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and here in Colombia, we have huge accents. For
Mm,
example, in Cali, we have another accent that is a little bit, I don't know how to say it in English, but
mhm,
it could sound ridiculous. For
mhm,
example, at all, you can see in Barranquilla or in Cartagena different accents that are from there, and are
yeah.
the difference. It had huge difference between them, and also in La Guajira, you have
Mm.
different accents than in
And
Cartagena
different
or in
words.
Barranquilla.
Yes, it's like the different accents and different dialects and different words. Yeah, and that's very interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, in our country could be a little different
Mhm.
between regions. For example, here in Bogota, we have a meaning for a word that
Mhm.
is arrecho, that it's being a little bit in
Mm.
a sexual sense.
Oh
But
yes, that's crazy.
in Santander, it could mean that you are so angry and you
Mm.
say, "Oh, I'm arrecho." In Santander, you're going to be so furious. You're going to be so mad. But if you
Mhm.
say it here, you're going to be, "Oh my God, can
Yeah.
you control your mouth?"
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and it's
Yeah.
different. And if
Yeah.
you're, for example, from United States and you're from there to Santander and you
Mm.
come here to Bogota and you say this word,
Mm.
we're going to say, "Oh my gosh, can you stop doing this? This means
Mhm.
this here in Bogota." Oh, and he could be a little bit embarrassed about it.
Yeah. All right.
And it could
Interesting.
happen in other way. For example,
Mhm.
from Spanish to English, and we have to this situation that we use our words with other foreign words, and we want to share
Mhm.
about it, and we want to look out from similarities in our language,
Mhm.
and we have this problem for giving them the same meaning. For
All right.
example, I don't know, I was learning in first grade, I don't know. But
Mhm.
I forgot all the words that
All
I
right.
confused that in the
All
Spanish. For
right.
example, embarrassed. As a native speaker, it could be a little bit confusing. But
Mm.
it's here we can say that it's not happening so just with
Mhm.
our texting and with our communicative process with technological being.
All
It's
right.
like our speaking. And these are my arguments that are just refuting this idea that texting
Mm.
is ending with our language. For
Mm.
example, if you get out, for example, in the future, and you see the word grillo,
Mhm.
probably could mean here in Colombia something different. Or
Mhm.
if you see the word lol,
Mhm.
or this, I don't know how to call it, but this way of communicating that it's lol
Mhm.
all the time,
All
and
right.
you're not going to give it the same meaning today, in the future, or in at 20 years ago. I don't know.
All right. Mhm. Interesting.
The
All right.
point that it's that our language is making an evolution all the time, and we have to get in the mood with it. If you were if you were from, for example, I don't know, um, from the last century, you're going to
Mhm.
understand
Mhm. Mhm.
nothing about these conversations. Uh, but you're going to get in the mood with it because you're going to get used to this language, and you're going to share your ideas with this language,
Mhm.
and you're going to get used to it. Because if you don't make in the mood, you are going to be just out of the society, because this is changing so fast. And the point
Yes.
that it's our language is
Mhm.
making an evolution. And I think that if you get out of texting, you're going to get out of language, and you're going to be out of this new communicative process
Mhm.
that we are making here, for example, in Colombia or in Mexico or in
Mhm.
Spain or in USA. You
All
have
right.
to make an evolution of your language,
Mhm.
like handwriting.
Mhm.
First, we had like to write in a stone, and we last of all the human went to China. We had wars on. We have now the miracle of paper and the miracle of having ink. And if
Right.
you do handwriting, you're going to use your own handprint, and you're going to use your own language because you're from your age, and you
Mhm.
come from your time. Or, for example, if you come from the Middle Age, you're going to write in your own way. And it means that our language without texting was evolutioning in the
Mhm.
same way. Not as fast as today,
Mhm.
but they had the evolution because they mixed a lot with Greek words and
All
with
right.
it. italic words. I think like that. Mm, all right, I think that it's
Mhm,
uh, a part of our language, a huge part.
mhm,
It's reading because when you reach your language with new words, like when you, for example, read Shakespeare in
mhm,
English or in Spanish, you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, what does this mean?"
mhm,
Or you're going to go to the Google's translator and you search this, and in Spanish you don't know what is said, and you're going to ask to your granny probably that could use this word,
mhm,
but you're going to make a communicative process and make a connection with improving your language. That it's the main part of our communication process.
mhm, mhm. All right. Mhm,
Last of all, I just say thanks for listening.
mhm.
I just said that I talked a lot.
It's all
Sorry
right.
about it. You have mm, listened too much, and
Mhm,
it's time to use those new skills
mhm,
for just showing some ideas that you have here in your head. If you want to share it here, or if you want to talk it by texting, I don't know, probably. But what do you think about all this new main evolution of
mm.
our language? Do you think that it's good or it's bad? Or you think that it's by parts? What do you think about it?
Mhm. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for sharing these interesting and amazing ideas. I think it all depends on the situation. When you started the presentation, I immediately thought about Twitter and how, for example, politicians use this medium to communicate by texting with words which are incomplete because of the amount of words you can use there. You need to shorten your ideas, and then you may say, well, let's compare this with teenage texting where you also do the same, and then we qualify or we say that texting this way is very informal and not a very nice way to communicate. But then when you go to Twitter and you see the same technique, you say, oh, that's all right, because they're politicians and this is Twitter and they need to make a very nice use of the space. So that's very interesting, right? That, wow, I mean, yeah, we are like evolving with this kind of texting uh, themes. And I think that's very interesting to say the least. Yeah. So, well, Anna, that's what I think. I want to say thank you. I really appreciate you took the time to explain this in a very nice way. I think um, so far so good. So, thank you very much. And this is the end of the activity. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.